and stigma around mental health at times. I think talking about it can make it feel more real, and that can be scary.
Suicide is the leading cause of death in young people 15 to 24 years old. Nearly 20% of all high school students say they've seriously thought about it. More than 10% have attempted to take their own life.
It's isolating,
unbearable, and overpowering.
Burdening.
Confusing.
A word to describe teen mental health is vulnerable.
The thing about mental health, it's like trying to keep your campfire alive. The spark is there, but without the resources it needs, the spark can't survive. It can't grow. It can't bloom into a flame and is lost forever.
time where we're all growing. You see friends that you've known forever, and they're just like not acting like themselves.
Like decreased productivity and like not wanting to hang out with your friends much, and really just like not enjoying life as much as you should be, especially when you're like a teenager and you're supposed to be having fun.
Depression for teenagers, and specifically teenagers, is very complicated because you're kind of frowned upon if you have it, or you don't want to say that you have it.
I think I see a lot more anxiety in teaching than I used to see it. I've been teaching about 20 years, and I just feel like kids are in general more anxious than they used to be about schoolwork and things like that.
I don't know enough about it to say I have it. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. So I feel like that's kind of the consensus as well, that maybe they don't know enough about it, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think many people, they just don't feel comfortable to be open like that.
It's really challenging to live up to seeing that stuff,
because they might not feel like people will hear them.
At least one or two in every class that seem to be really struggling.
That I've encountered a healthy amount of students who are struggling with their mental health.
Ways that I've seen students struggle in the classroom is a lot in behavior, especially if they're participating, really outgoing, and maybe from one day to another, seeing that shift and not seeing them participate as much or just being as vocal in any way, in however they interact with their peers.
Definitely been anxious. It's skyrocketed up since I've been a teen. I feel like every situation, you kind of think about the worst thing that could happen. And then for me at least, I kind of fixate on that.
Something very fragile and something that can really have a negative impact on teens.
Teen mental health is in a time where people are changing a lot and you realize how difficult social dynamics can be. It's how different people figure out how to compose themselves over their time at middle school, I guess, and high school.
I mean, I've seen it impact them in a lot of different ways. Some people have taken their own life.
A lot of thoughts that I think I've felt recently and in the past have been worrying that I'm not good enough, worrying what people will think about me. different people's dynamics with their parents, with their friends, what kind of school they go to. Like, feeling that other people are always going to be better than you is just something that people go through. And at some point, like, it just doesn't stop, but I guess people just get used to it.
I would just say, like, stress in general from, like, life. I mean, I have a lot of things going on, like, whether that's, like, in school or out of school. So, like, hobbies, homework, friends, social life, family, just all very stressful. And I think that connects to depression in a very...
I would say, like, academic performance, and then overall sort of just like having to juggle and balance a lot of differing or competing responsibilities. So students have homework they have to do, they have after school clubs, teams, and that really just their time management, it creates a lot of stress and they don't necessarily have a lot of downtime. So I think that does have an impact on their overall well-being.
Life is causing those things, but yeah, I've felt them myself. And yeah, it's just the ups and downs of life.
I think people have like trouble expressing their feelings, especially to people who aren't open to hearing those opinions, and they may feel unsafe or, you know, just kind of closed off, maybe because of past experiences or the people that they're surrounded
It's like
kind of perfectionism. It's, I mean, most people know that it can make you anxious, but it can also make you really depressed. So
just, I also notice just stress coming from like a comparison mindset, feeling like they want to fit in, like also like everything with social media.
So the main thing that's really probably been in my life is anxiety because of workload, like deadlines, so many deadlines. Like especially when I have a big project due.
Body image and, like I said, work ethic and motivation. So it's definitely challenging seeing my people that I care about having to deal with this too.
Sometimes I think individuals might not know, like, oh, that is this really a problem, or is this just me feeling sad, or you know, not really understanding like what some of the indicators are.
Is the price of the pandemic. A CDC reports a 48% increase over the past year of emergency room visits for teens who've attempted suicide.
So it's like tightness in my chest and not being able to sleep.
I feel like it's not very, it's very hard to like pinpoint, because like people will be sad sometimes, people will be happy sometimes, but I feel like I definitely have had like friends that are like, I could almost say are depressed, like almost like that, but yeah, mostly because of things like stress though.
I usually would just sit in my room, yeah, just be less open to my loved ones.
Versus the learning, especially as kids get older. Like, I just think they start to get really stressed out about how they're doing instead of like just focusing on the journey and realizing that it's more of a long game, and if they're not quite there yet, they will be someday. They just have to keep working at it.
And at school is that it can lead to like higher levels of anxiety. It can lead to sometimes like conflict with friends. It can look like maybe procrastination or like having a hard time completing homework or managing homework outside of school. I think it also looks like teens looking really tired at school, and just being exhausted.
The people around them, those are little things that you pick up through time, because as a teacher you really get to know the student, and so you will know days where, you know, maybe they're not their greatest, but you will know when they're having a good day or when there's something else happening.
everybody experiences it in a different way, but I feel like something that's common when you're like anxious is trying to be like, oh, I'm fine, because I feel like there's like people are often like there's a stigma and people are embarrassed about being anxious and stuff.
Mental health, but that can look like, you know, kind of like shorter time periods where maybe there's just like a couple weeks or a month or so where a student might be, you know, struggling with mental health versus like chronic or long-term struggles with mental health. And I definitely have seen a balance of both.
I feel like people wouldn't be open to talking about it because it's not very common for people to say it that they have it. Like it's more of, I feel like people think it's more of a state of mind than like an actual like condition almost. But yeah.
Well, it can be like perceived as you're like, oh, you're weak, you're anxious, you're weak, and then also like for depression, it can be like, oh, but you're so lucky, you have such a great life, why are you sad?
It's really hard to be very open and vulnerable about something that you are struggling with, and so I think it's just finding that really close community of someone that holds that space for you.
A lot of people are taught that you don't share this stuff, and I think that should change because the only way to get over it is to talk it out and fix it. It won't go away on its own.
So some things why people might not feel comfortable about talking to people about it is just because they think they're isolated, especially like when any of these anxious thoughts or depressing thoughts. It's really isolating, and if you tell someone, it's really hard to just come out about it.
Well, a lot of some people might not want to talk about it because a lot of people have put on like a persona and developed like character to them and how people see them. So changing it like that and really coming and being vulnerable with someone is hard for a lot of people.
I don't know why people aren't open and talking about it. Like, that's puzzling to me. It seems like a normal part of life, but we have a taboo about mental health issues, and people don't necessarily feel open sharing those things. But I think we should, as a culture, do that more often because it's part of the human experience. You know?
I think talking about it and not acting like it's a closed off subject in schools, because I know a lot of schools think about it as, oh, it's, you know, it's this and that and we shouldn't talk about it. But it's important to talk about it and to make sure that kids know that it's not something that they should be ashamed about or have to hide, or it's something that they can talk about.
Being more open, like I think as adults, if we're more open about talking about our own struggles, maybe that will help students realize, oh, we're like, this is a normal thing. It's not like I have to have it all put together all the time. And I think just having a culture of trust, like our advisory program, I think we build trust with our small groups.
Talking about it more when you're younger helps as you get older, but I feel like with teens, really just, it can be kind of annoying sometimes when adults are like, it's okay to feel whatever you want, but it actually is helpful, so I would say that that's a good way too.
Sometimes when you put a label on yourself, like it can make you feel different and like there's something wrong with you, when there's like totally not something wrong with you. It's just like you might need extra help at that time.
I think just like not like making fun of people as much and like being there for anyone, like if they want to go for anything.
You are loved. There are people in your life who want to help and support you. You're not alone, and you will get through it.
Focusing on like the good parts of life and like connecting with your friends and family and others around you.
Being like in a person, it doesn't really have to be an adult, but having a person that you feel comfortable to talk with and just kind of share. You know, I think it's sometimes also knowing that everyone struggles, right? It's not, we're not all, you know, like 100% all the time. And I think it's just us being more open. So I think just really making connections, talking, participating, doing things that you're passionate about. And that's why, like, I like to bring those things in the classroom. And just, I feel like if we participated more in like the passions, things that we like to do, I think we'll be, you know, just a little bit more happier. But I think it's like the connection and finding someone who you can talk to and rely on.
I know it's like kind of silly, but I still have like my stuffed animals from when I was a little kid, and it's whenever I'm stressed, I just like to have something to squeeze and hug. So I don't know. I feel like that always works because yeah.
If everybody just shares how they're feeling.
I would say talking to trusted adults is a huge thing that they can do. I think a lot of people, let alone kids, think they're alone when they're struggling with those kinds of issues. So just talking to either their friends or an adult. And letting their teachers know. Like, I think oftentimes kids might just feel like some sense of reluctance in telling their guides. But when we know they're struggling with something, like that is really helpful information because we can tweak things and make sure that they're not getting overwhelmed in our classes. But for me, if a kid doesn't say anything, unless I'm really seeing clear signs, I will assume things are okay because I don't want to assume they're having a hard time.
A really good thing, you should just talk to someone. Talk to someone who knows, I guess, what you're going through, knows your situation, knows how to offer advice and how to help you.
Students can always seek assistance, I think, from like trusted adults in their life. Trusted adults have the capacity, they have the resources, they have the knowledge of ways to connect those students to resources that can help them. I think that there are those, like, you know, ones that you always think of, like going to see a counselor, going to therapy. But there are also like support groups, say if a student is dealing with the loss of a loved one, or even something like, I don't know, like a transition, or parents are getting divorced, right? Like there are support groups for kids and teens so they don't feel alone. And I also think just having students know that they don't have to deal with the problems on their own, that they really can have like almost a team on their side supporting them through whatever they need.
I feel like a way to create a safe environment is like checking in with people about like their stress levels or anything like that. Like any ways that like teachers can help.
I think the best way to cope is to find someone who you really trust and to be able to confide in them, and that they can confide in you, and that not only creates like a really healthy bond that you can have with someone, but it really helps you get things off your chest. So I think it's best to find someone that I trust.
Maybe keep your heads up and don't be afraid to admit that you have depression, or like to try and face it head on, and like don't be afraid to admit it. Yeah.
Talk about it. Please just get your thoughts out, get your feelings out, because people want to hear it, and people around you who care about you want to hear it, and they want to help you.
Sometimes it feels like every day is a struggle, and every day is like, it's always going to be like this, but it won't. Things change. Friendship groups change. Like, you have so much time ahead of you, and sometimes when you're in it as a kid, you're just like in it. And you don't often think like, oh, in 15 years, I'm going to be a completely different person. So just remember that you're always going to be growing and changing, and things always change. Change is constant. It's the only thing that's constant in this world.
Have fun.
You're not alone.
We all struggle, but we all struggle, and there's so much out there for us to offer in the world. There's so much love that you can get from so many people.
I would say you're not alone.
Probably just talk to people. Doesn't even have to be your parents, just like an adult that you trust.
I'd just say that like everything's gonna be okay. Things will work itself out. It's just you can't have good times without having bad times, and you just have to push through it because that's what life is about.
Hi, my name is Lorenzo. I'm an 8th grader at Millennium.
My name is Simon Gray.
My name is Nina Balbini.
Evelyn Simrell.
Maisie.
My name is Colleen Erickson.
Stephanie.
Miss Kate Moriarty.
My name is Evan Sato.
Maybe one day I'll change the game, but for now I'm just a name in second place.